You ever feel like your brain just refuses to hold on to new words? Like you learn something today and poof, by tomorrow it's gone.
Oh, all the time. It's like my memory has a mind of its own. Pun intended.
Well, today we're cracking the code on memory. How it works, why it ditches half the stuff we try to learn, and most importantly, how to hack it for better language learning.
We'll also sprinkle in some supercharged English vocab, phrasal verbs, and idioms along the way, so stick around. Oh, and a quick shout out to FunFluent, the only tool that lets you learn languages like a pro by watching movies. Check it out.
All right, let's dive in.
Okay, so most people think memory works like a hard drive. You put stuff in and it stays there forever, right?
Ah, I wish. Turns out memory is more like a super picky bouncer at a nightclub. If a piece of information doesn't seem useful, it gets kicked out.
And that's why we forget words we don't use. If your brain doesn't see them as VIP material, it just chucks them out the window.
Exactly. That's where procedural memory and declarative memory come in.
Whoa, big words. Explain.
Declarative memory is when you memorize facts, like a new grammar rule or a list of vocabulary. It's the knowing what.
So, like memorizing that, breakup means to end a relationship?
Exactly. But procedural memory is when something becomes second nature. Like you don't think about how to ride a bike, you just do it.
Or using breakup naturally in conversation, like, they were such a terrible couple. I knew they'd break up.
Spot on. Real fluency happens when words move from declarative to procedural memory. And the trick? You got to use them over and over until they become second nature.
All right, so how do we actually trick our brains into keeping new words?
First, let's talk about mnemonics. That's when you connect a new word to something silly, emotional, or familiar.
Ah, like how I remember the word flabbergasted by imagining a cat looking shocked after seeing itself in the mirror.
Exactly, the sillier the better. And hey, let's throw in some advanced vocab here. To stick in your mind. If something sticks in your mind, it means you remember it easily. Example. That movie scene really stuck in my mind. I can't unsee it. To draw a blank. When you draw a blank, you completely forget something. Example. I tried to remember the word for umbrella in French, but I just drew a blank.
Ooh, happens to me all the time.
That's why we need spaced repetition.
Ah, the old drip feeding method.
Exactly. Instead of cramming 50 words in one day, you review them at intervals. 1 day later, then 3 days, then a week.
It's like working out at the gym. You don't deadlift 300 pounds on day one. You gotta build up gradually.
Oh, love that metaphor.
Okay, last hack. Emotional connection. If you can tie a word to a feeling or experience, your brain will cling to it like a toddler to their mom.
Exactly. That's why storytelling is such a powerful way to learn languages.
Like imagine a guy named Tom getting dumped in a stormy night, yelling, "I can't believe she broke up with me in the middle of a thunderstorm."
Boom now, break up is tied to an emotional soap opera moment. You'll never forget it.
Oh, and let's add this. To get the hang of something. When you get the hang of something, you start to understand it well. Example. At first, English pronunciation was tough, but after practicing, I got the hang of it. To brush up on something. If you brush up on a skill, you review and improve it. Example. I need to brush up on my Spanish before my trip to Barcelona.
And the best way to do that? Use FunFluent to practice real conversations with movies.
All right, challenge time. We've covered a lot of phrases today, so here's a short story using all of them. Sweet bee.
Try to memorize this little paragraph, or better yet, say it out loud. Tom was completely flabbergasted when his girlfriend broke up with him in the middle of a storm. He drew a blank when trying to remember what he did wrong. But after thinking about it, he realized she had mentioned it before. He just wasn't paying attention. He decided to brush up on his communication skills. At first it was tough, but after a few weeks he got the hang of it. That lesson really stuck in his mind.
That's a power-packed story right there.
Now it's your turn. Try using these phrases in your own sentences and drop them in the comments.
All right, what did we learn today? Memory works in two ways: declarative, knowing what, and procedural, knowing how. Mnemonics make learning fun and sticky. Spaced repetition beats cramming every time. Emotion boosts retention, so make words mean something to you.
And don't forget, if you want to learn English naturally through movies, FunFluent has your back.
That's a wrap for today. Hit that subscribe button for more awesome English learning content. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.